Welcome back to another episode of the Solitude and Single Track podcast, where we talk about our lives as off-grid RVers with our dirt bikes in the middle of the Pacific Northwest woods. I'm Zoe Anderson, your host, and today I would like to talk about my New Year's resolutions and where I'm at with those this year. I made a podcast back in December about having New Year's goals, and I split them into, and there's a specifically moto goals, and I split them into two categories, trials versus enduro. And I know I haven't made a podcast in a while, and I'll get to the reasons on why. Actually, I don't really have any reasons other than it's really hard to find quiet alone time. Like right now, it's 9 o'clock at night, and I am alone, and I don't think there's anybody around me, so there's no distractions. But anyways, I wanted to talk about my mid-year goals. I had intended to publish this back in July, and then I've re-recorded this at least 5 times because I keep getting interrupted in the middle of it, and then I accidentally delete my recording. So anyways, it's now September 17th, and it's, I guess, more of like a 3/4 of the year check-in with my New Year's resolutions. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive in. So I divided them into trials and enduro, and my trials goals, we'll go ahead and just talk about those first because there was only 2 of them, and they both go hand in hand. My 2 trials goals were to, 1, start entering in the intermediate class in trials. Last year I did my first trial, and I entered in novice, and I did 2 trials in the end of the year, both of them being novice. And while I wasn't cleaning house in novice, not anywhere near it, I felt like bumping up to intermediate was the right move, so I knew more or less what I should be working on as far as like my trials fundamentals. I knew that I needed to work on the fundamentals, but knowing what the next step was in, my trial skills is very helpful. So entering intermediate was a really, really good choice, and I really enjoyed the 2 that I've done. My second goal for trials was to enter every single local club event of the year. And I've completely failed that. I've only done 2 trials events this year, and I think there's been like 6. So obviously that goal's not going to be made. I have been so busy, and the place that we're staging at right now is kind of in the middle of nowhere. And by middle of nowhere, I just mean that it's just out of the way. It's at least an hour and a half to any decent sized town, or at least where people that we know live. So it makes it really difficult to want to load up on the weekends all the bikes and everything, and somehow secure all of our stuff, which is just in the middle of the woods, and make sure that everything's all locked up and no one's gonna mess with their stuff. So yeah, it's been really difficult to have the desire to go out and do trials. And plus, in complete transparency, I have enjoyed riding my enduro bike a lot. And last year I was super trials focused. Over the winter when I put my dirt bike away, I was super trials focused, really, really focused on balance and getting those fundamental trial skills down. And this year I just was like, well, I really like riding my dirt bike when I started riding it again in March, and it's just kind of blown up from there. In fact, I made a YouTube video on the 200-hour review on my Beta Cross trainer, and I am only a few hours away from 300. And this was back in May that I made the 200-hour review. So I've put 100 hours just about on my bike since May. And see, I think I started the season off at like 175 hours, and now I'm at 294. So yeah, I'm racking the hours up on that baby. So trials, it's not that I don't like trials, it's just that I haven't had life is short, and we can really only dedicate ourselves to certain things at a time. And I don't want to waste my summer. I don't want to say waste. I want to make the most out of what I want to do. And what I have wanted to do was dirt bike and not trials bike. And, same thing with I bought mountain bikes, and I've only taken my mountain bike out a handful of times. So hopefully when the weather changes, I will change my mind on riding the dirt bike, and I'll be more into trials and mountain biking. But for now, dirt biking is my jam. So with that being said, let's move on to the dirt bike goals, which there were 3 of them. The first one was to start riding in the front of the pack rather than sticking to the back of the pack all the time. In the past, I have always been a back of pack rider because I'm always, usually I'm the slowest rider of the group. And so I would tend to go to the back because I don't want to hold people up. I don't want people watching me ride. I've never been a huge attention seeker. I'd prefer to just lay low and have people not make fun of me. So I would always ride in the back, and this was okay, except I was always so far within my comfort zone that I couldn't really advance as much as I wanted to, and I couldn't push my limits and be faster, be a better rider. So this year I had a goal of being in the front and pushing myself, getting out of my comfort zone. And thanks to my good friend Jeff, who I met with in trials, he started coming out every Wednesday, and we'd ride every Wednesday. And because I know the area that we ride in really, really well, I tended to be the leader of the group. And so every Wednesday I lead a ride, and this has helped me push myself and become a better leader. So for example, as far as like leadership goes, every Wednesday we have a different group of people. Usually it's me and Jeff, and then plus or minus a few other people. And before we ride, I always check in with everybody and say, how are we feeling? What do we want to ride? Sometimes sometimes people just want to do drills, and they just want to sit there and they want to work on the fundamental things. And sometimes they want to just go take some really easy trails, and other times they want to take some harder trails. So I check in with everybody before the ride, and then I kind of plan a route based on that and how everybody's feeling and the people that show up. And sometimes we even pick up people along the way. I mean, it's not always just the people that are the regulars. Sometimes there's just people in the staging area who say, hey, can you come ride with you? And I'm like, yeah, sure, go ahead and join. The only thing you need is a bike and a good attitude. So we pick up people along the way. And so this has exposed me to riding with a lot of different people with a lot of different skill levels and skill sets. And it has helped my, I'm going to say ego, but I mean it in a non-derogatory way, where I don't have this ego thing, but I'm always afraid that someone's judging me. And I don't like that. So riding with a variety of people has kind of helped me get over that and not worry so much about, did I mess it up? Did I look like crap when I went over that log? Or did I look like crap when I did that turn? Was I counterbalancing right? I try not to worry about shit like that, and I just ride. So I think I freaking knocked that goal out of the park, because I am a great trail leader now and a great trail steward. So the next goal was, the reason that I had that goal on there was because I had a goal of entering a race this year. I've never raced in my life. I mean, I don't count. I rode horses when I was younger, and I barrel raced, and I did shows, and I have never raced competitively on a motorcycle. I've never done like a running race. Anyways, I'm not really big into competition sports is what I'm trying to say. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me try racing for the first time. And I had joked years ago when Taylor and I used to, before we moved to Texas, we would go to PIR in Portland, and we'd watch Thursday night motocross. And I always joked, well, hey, maybe I should do motocross. I don't have a desire to do motocross, by the way. I mean, I have a desire to take a motocross clinic, but I don't have a desire to compete. Anyways, I digress. I wanted to do my first enduro race, so I chose this GP that's in Tillamook State Forest. I did the Mount Scott Bob Lanphier GP, which is typically in a really easy area, and it's only like a few mile loop, and it's a 90-minute course. So I did that, and it was so fun. I liked it so much. I hate to admit it, but I was more competitive than I ever thought I would be. I got the whole shot. I ended up getting second place, and I made a lot of really silly mistakes because I was kind of like, it was raining and I was super excited, and I ate it in a bunch of corners. And anyways, I don't want to go into a whole race recap on it, but it was a lot of fun and I did way better than I had expected to do. And I really wanted to do another one, but I wanted to do a different format. So that one was a GP, and I really want to do an ISDE. And there's some ISDE that I wanted to do a few months ago, was the Devil's Head ISDE that, Mount Scott also puts on out here in the Portland area. And I didn't end up doing it. And then there's another one that's coming up this weekend that I was going to do and have ultimately decided not to. I am not a religious person, but I am very much a spiritual person in the way that I believe that things and opportunities are presented to you for a reason when the universe wants you to be pulled in a certain direction. And I know that sounds really crazy, but it's just how I believe, and that's kind of what helps me get through my day-to-day life and what helps me make decisions in my life. And I had an opportunity to do this clinic that was focused on obstacles and endurocross type stuff the same weekend as this race that I want to do that's this weekend. So because I had that opportunity, I decided to go ahead and do the clinic over the race, and I am super excited about that. And I really wish I could do the race and the clinic at the same time, but I can't because I'm one person, and the clinic is in Eastern Oregon, which is 3 hours away from me, and this race is really close to where I am. So I can't do both. So I'm just going to do the clinic, and I'm stoked about it because these are things that I do need work on. I can do obstacles, but I think that I need some guidance on doing them more comfortably, more efficiently, and making sure my form is correct. So I'm excited to go do a clinic and get some tools to put back in my toolbox for doing double blips and getting over bigger obstacles and things that are, generally on endurocross courses. So that is, actually, I almost skipped over a whole freaking goal. So my third goal for enduro was to do this really famous hill climb. If you are familiar with Tillamook State Forest, you might have heard of the back-to-back hill climb. It's a hill climb that used to be the rite of passage / my balls are bigger than your balls back in like the 70s, 80s, and even today. And used to be part of like a bunch of competitions and things like that. And I took a couple runs at it last year when I was in the area, and I only made it about halfway. And this year I haven't taken any runs at it whenever I've been around it. Mostly because I don't want to get hurt, and I know that I can't make it. And I'm not trying to be negative. It's not negative. I'm just realistic with where my skills are, and my skill sets are not for big, tall, rocky hill climbs. And I don't want to keep just throwing myself at this hill that I know I'm going to fail at, and then I know I'm going to have to turn around on, and then continually degrade this trail that has been degraded to crap from people like me trying it over and over and over again. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to be part of the problem. I don't feel like I'm going to take a run at it until I feel like I'm ready, until I feel like I actually have a chance at making it all the way to the top. So so that's my goals. I don't know if I'm going to accomplish that goal this year or not, but I have at least made that was how many goals? That was 5 goals. I have accomplished 3 out of 5 goals this year, and one of them I'm not accomplishing, and then the other one is on the fence, but probably not. The thing about New Year's resolutions is you don't always make them. You don't always get to complete your New Year's resolutions, because everybody has one that's like, oh, I want to lose weight, I want to do this, I want to do that. But sometimes your goals are just a little bit too lofty for what is reality, and that's fine. So you just adjust and move on. You adjust your goals to something that's more attainable. So that's kind of where I'm at, is I have made these goals. I didn't make some of them. That's totally fine. I'm not going to beat myself up over it. But now I know where I'm at as a rider and the things that I want to do next year. I guess I can base these, I can take these goals that I haven't accomplished, and I can form them into new goals for next year or next season or however I want to work it. It doesn't even have to be a New Year's resolution. It can be just a goal that I have for, that I have in my sights. So anyways, that's about all the time I've got for you today. I so appreciate everybody who has listened to my podcast, and I hope that it has been a valuable experience for you. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to either leave a comment or send me an email. I am always open to hearing people's suggestions on podcasts and what you want to hear me talk about if you're, listening to me blab about my dirt bikes and my other problems. But anyways, I will catch you guys next time.